Alright, ladies and gents, it's your boy Rocco Yaps, and I Yap Cinema. Today I want to talk about, I may be a little late, if you've been watching the channel for a bit, I tend to be a little late. A lot was going on, and I couldn't upload for a bit, but I'm back. Now, during the time that I was kind of, unfortunately, having to take a little bit of time off, Stranger Things released the very last piece of content wise for the show, and it was called Stranger Things One Last Adventure. It's just a documentary about how, you know, the whole process of making Stranger Things season 5. And I've been wanting to talk about it because there have been some stuff to talk about, and we will get into this video. Now, basically, the plot is that it's a documentary basically to show like behind the scenes and the whole process of making everything, not from season 1 but from the very beginning of Stranger Things season 5, like before they even started shooting, all the way to the very last thing they did for Stranger Things 5 before releasing it. All of that was filmed not by the Duffel brothers but by Netflix and their own separate team to film and basically just film everything behind the scenes and everything um, related to creating the very last season of Stranger Things 5. And in my opinion, after watching it, I watched it. It's a pretty nice watch. You get to see it's at least for me. I love movies a lot. I love cinema. I love everything related to cinema. So I like the process of watching how something is created, especially when it comes to something being as big and as impactful and as meaningful. Like anything that's like Harry Potter related, like even something like Twilight, which I'm not too big in, but it was a big cultural thing. Stranger Things is the same way. Stranger Things, whether you like the show or not, whether you're okay about it, the denial cannot, you can't deny that it is a cultural phenomenon. It is like one of those things that's like every 10 years, every 20 years comes around. And it's going to be a long time. I feel like it's going to be a long time before a show captures us and creates such an impact in society globally, not just in the US, but globally impacts as Stranger Things did. Stranger Things had a chokehold on us since 2016, and 10 years later, it ended at the very end of 2015. So, but and I like getting into how other departments, not just the movie, like the actors and the actresses or the the directors. I I enjoy watching like the other departments, like the makeup department, the set department, the people like the stunts and creating the stunts and coming up with the ideas of the action, people that are in charge of making the costumes and whatnot, people that are in charge of creating the sets, like the practical sets, and how to bring it to life without the use of too much CGI. And this documentary did it, especially because the Duffel brothers, give them credit to them. They did want to have like as much as possible to be practical and stuff like that. They grew up in the 80s. They were around the same age as these kids during the 80s and stuff like that. So they grew up with a lot of practical stuff. They grew up with CGI not really, pretty much not being a thing at all. So if you wanted to bring an idea to life, you had to figure out a way. You had to talk to people and brainstorm and come together to kind of figure out how exactly you guys are going to bring this idea to life without it looking dorky or costing too much. So I will give them credit because I am somebody who does appreciate and enjoy that creativity of practical effects and just prettying it up with CGI. Just using CGI to make it look a little prettier. So I will give them credit for that. Now, this documentary though that we're gonna be talking about is has some good and has some bad. Now, I will be talking about the good first because I think it'll be a lot easier to kind of unfortunately get into the bad. But what I mean is not the quality of the documentary in terms of good. I'm trying to explain like the good things that it showed us about the season 5, if that makes sense. Because season 5 obviously is under a lot of heat, a lot of mixed reviews. A lot of people are kind of in between, like, oh, it's a decent season, or I'm happy but not too happy, or there's people who are very disappointed. They're very sad about how, in their opinion, it's a terrible way of ending this. Like I said, this cultural phenomenon of a show that had a 10-year chokehold on global society, and how they feel like the culmination and the ending not living up to the beginning and everything in between the beginning and the end. So I just want to talk about like the good things first and like what they showed us about the good of making season 5. And the first thing I have in my keynotes is that the whole showing of everyone, uh like not actor or director related, how their talents and contributions aided to the creation and to the good of Stranger Things 5, to the good things that Stranger Things 5 does have. Like I said, the people in set department, that whole layer of that Vecna had in the void when he was with the kids and stuff, and he was inside the mind flare, and that's like his layer. That whole set is that whole set is practical. So it's not made. It's not just CGI. Like I said, it's practical. They made it out of foam. They cut it very precisely, and then they prettied it up with arts and crafts and paint and stuff. But they put makeup on it in the sense of like the CGI is the makeup. It's already a set that's there and pretty and stuff, but the CGI is just the makeup put on it to make it look more realistic, more prettier, and to add the other elements of like that can be practical, if that makes sense. So like I thought that was pretty cool. You get to see a glimpse of like I said, in my opinion, you gotta give those fools a fucking point for that, for trying to be practical, to bring that creativity and that life to it. It's hard. It's a lot easier to just be like, hey, you fools with the fucking computer, you guys are in charge of making this to life. But like I said, I'm always gonna believe that the marriage between practical and CGI and combining them and working together is always gonna be better than just going all out practical or all out CGI. I think merging those two is always gonna be the best outcome. And we got to see that, in my opinion. We got to see that of the people and everybody who isn't an actor or actress or a director, how they contributed and how they made special the Stranger Things 5. Now, my second key point is you get to see the practical buildings and sets. Like I said, it's not just sets, but it's also buildings. Like, for example, they had to rebuild the whole point, like the Big Mac, basically. If you don't remember what I'm saying, but the Big Mac is the middle part where the gate is at, and Stranger Things 5 is in the center of Hawkins Town. That's the Big Mac. They basically had to build that whole area in a different location from what it originally is. So it's just, like I said, the whole process of makeup, of costumes, set designing, set building. Uh, it's just everything was just. I believe they deserve a lot more flowers. Always in any project, movies, TV shows, those people deserve a lot more flowers. And I feel like this documentary did show that, and it gave them that opportunity to get their flowers. My last point in my keynote is it really showed us how close and meaningful the cast and crew are with one another and to the series. So, in my opinion, like they're just reading over the script and they were crying, they were bawling out because they knew like these are our last times ever going to be doing this for the show and with one another. They could possibly end up working, like some of them could end up working together in other projects in the future. But as a Stranger Things crewmate and all together, that's the last time they're doing a script reading for the first time. Um, Kind of just getting a glimpse of these scenes that they've created and the dialogue, and they're reading the last, what it seems like the possibly last ever words that character that's so dear to them. That's the last words that character is gonna say. That's it. Those are his final words. So it was a very touching thing, and it's always nice to see that you never want to see like child like fools hating each other or just wanting as this project to be done as soon as possible. You never want to see that because I feel like that does translate into the project and the performance that they give and stuff like that. But boy, oh boy, do we have now the bad. Fuck. Well, in my keynotes, my first one I have, and what possibly could be the main fucking problem of this, in my opinion, there's no way it's not at least top three for you guys, but in my opinion, it's the biggest fucking issue, is the script not being fucking done. Like, what the fuck were we thinking? The script isn't done. You had a huge gap. Stranger Things is one of those shows that are it's so unique, not only by the story, the plot, and the characters, but it's so unique in the sense that what show do you know that has the same around the same level of fucking fame and like status and social impact and adornment and takes as long as they do? You know what I mean? Like Game of Thrones, for example. I haven't watched Game of Thrones, but I know Game of Thrones is a big fucking show. It was a big deal. People were watching it all the time. Celebrities were posting all the time that they couldn't wait for the next episode next week and stuff like that. But it's like Game of Thrones, as far as I'm aware, didn't take these long ass breaks in between seasons. They wouldn't film a season and then be like, all right, I'll see you fools in 5 fucking years from now. Like, what the fuck? You guys are popping. You guys are one of the biggest shows out right now, and you guys want to take a 5 year hiatus to do whatever. I don't know, prepare for next season or whatever. Like, what show do you? And in my opinion, I don't want to be that guy, but in my opinion, Stranger Things is bigger than Game of Thrones in the sense that it expanded far beyond just you know North America and stuff like that, and like England. Stranger Things was in all North America, all over Latin America, all over Europe, uh, certain places in Asia. Like this fucking show was way more out there, in my opinion, than Game of Thrones. And they were like, Stranger Things 4 is wrapped up, and we're doing the press release and everything. We'll see you guys in 5 years. And it's like, what? What show do you know that is as the level of like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Stranger Things, and takes years like break between seasons like that? It's just it pisses me off because it's like, okay, if you're gonna do that, then it's like it's and you already have in mind, obviously, like, okay, we just wrapped up season four. Stranger Things 5 is the finale for us. We have it in our mind that, because as far as I'm aware in the documentary or anything they've said online, they've never said that, oh, while we were writing and like filming Stranger Things 5, we decided this is the last season. No, it's implied that they knew after Stranger Things 4, like towards the end of Stranger Things 4, that season 5 was going to be the finale. So it's like, if you already had in mind this is gonna be the finale, and you're already gonna unwillingly or willingly take out 5 fucking years before making Stranger Things 5, why not spend that whole time trying to make this as good as possible? Why the fuck was this not your goal during those 4 to 5 year time period? If you already had in mind, hey, this is the final season for this, for my first and ever show I've ever made by myself, the Duffel Brothers, and this big, massive fucking show worldwide. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I don't know who at Netflix greenlit the idea of like, okay, they have like 60-70% of the show of the season finished and written down. We'll just we'll just start production and spending millions of dollars, and the script's not even finished at all. It's just baffling to me. Then my second note is the brainstorming process behind the script writing. That correlates with my third one, where it's like how the ideas were given but ignored. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. But Stranger Things: Last Adventure, they have multiple recordings of like in the writers' room. You have the Duffel brothers, obviously, and like 3 to 4 other writers, whoever they are. I don't know who the fuck they are, but these are 4 other writers who obviously their job is to help to either create or improve movie scripts or TV scripts. So the Duffer Brothers make it up and they could improve on it. Or they can throw ideas for the Duffer Brothers to use and write it. Or they themselves write scripts and give it to the Duffer Brothers, and the Duffer Brothers either say no or they tweak it, they remove stuff, they add stuff. You know, that's the whole point of a writer. When your fucking job is to write scripts. And it just baffles me that one of them, like most of them, were giving out fucking ideas and they were just either ignored or it was like it just went in through one ear and out the other. Like they didn't even process that fucking idea. Like they didn't even have the processing of time to process it to ignore it. Like it just went in one ear out the other. You know what I mean? For example, in one of the meetings that they were having and the film crew was recording them, all like 6 or 7 of them, no fucking joke intended, you brain rots, but they were all in the room and they were brainstorming, they were throwing out ideas, and one of the writer guys who isn't the Duffer Brothers was like, hey, how about how like we have to add the Demogorgons or Demodogs or Demobats because it'd be insane if we're in the upside down isn't the born place of these creatures, it's the void where Vecna's at and the final battle took place. So he's like, it'll be insane if we're in the void and the kids are in the void and not one of these fucking creatures, whether it's a Demodog, a Demobat, or a Demogorgon, like it'd be insane if one of these creatures doesn't at least show up during the final battle or is roaming around. Because this is their birth world. This is their world. And the Duffer Brother just goes, and just cuts to a different thing in the documentary. And it's baffling to me because it's like, at least to me, when I was watching it with my lady, you know, she, that was the thing that me and her discussed. And that's the thing that I told her. I was like, where the fuck are all these Demogorgons? Where the fuck are the Demobats? Where are a Demodog? Where's anything like upside down creature related? creature. Where is it? Because it's like it's insane. You're in the world where these things are born and created. It's like, and none of them are that. And it's even more crazier to me that it's like we were using a fuck ton of Demogorgons this season. The whole first volume of Stranger Things 5 is full with Demogorgons. You got Demogorgons stealing Holly. You got Demogorgons fighting off the Wheeler parents. You got Demogorgons fucking killing the shit out of the fucking cops. I mean, of the soldiers in the Big Mac in the middle of Hawkins Town. You have the Demogorgon attacking in the Upside Down where Hopper was doing his crawl. You have a Demogorgon being used, fucking Frankenstein his ass for Will to attack Vecna. It's just you fucking Demogorgons are all over the place in volume 1 of Stranger Things 5. And it's like, but when we're gonna finally go to the world, to the dimension where these fucking beings are either created or they're naturally born in these places, there's not even one. There's not one to be seen. It just baffles me. And then the you know, it just and then I remember also they were talking about, oh, demo fatigue. It's like, who the fuck told you that we are having demo fatigue? Like, me as a fan, I could assure you I don't give a fuck how many times they show a demo bat fucking flying around, how much time. Oh, volume fucking 2 also had demo dogs. So it's like, what is this fatigue? No one is fatigued by the Demogorgons. We love, at least me, I love the creation of the Demogorgon and everything Stranger Things creature related because it's unique. These are unique fucking creatures, and I at this point, I don't think it's fucking crazy to see. It's not crazy to say that it's a iconic creature, or it's at the beginning stages of becoming an iconic creature. You know, a giant 8 foot pale skinny figure with a giant flower mouth and face full of razor teeth. It's going to be an iconic uh creature, you know, and I think it's already in the, at least in the beginning process of becoming an iconic, like, cinema creature, up there with like the Predator, you know, the xenomorphs. um yeah, I think the Demogorgons is up there with some of those like creature designs from movies and TV shows. And it's like, I don't understand who the fuck told them we have demo fatigue. Like, if they had demo fatigue, just be a fucking man about it. Grow some fucking balls, you know, and be like, hey, fool, I have demo fatigue. I'm tired of this fucking creature I made up. You know what I mean? Like, just fucking do that. Just say that. Just say that. Like, in my opinion, I'm not a fucking writer. I didn't fucking go to a college or university and have experience writing fucking movie scripts. But it's as simple as saying, hey, the Mind Flayer, in order to make his body for the last fight, you know, that giant kaiju fucking Godzilla like creature, to make that body for the Mind Flayer, they sacrificed all the demo dogs, all the demo bats, all the demo gorgons. All of them came to one point, and like in Stranger Things 3, where the Mind Flayer made that blob body out of the Hawkins residence, like they decomposed and became like chunks of meat and bone and like slime, and the Mind Flayer absorbed it all in order to make a physical body. Just say they did the exact same fucking thing, but this time they used demo bats, demo dogs, and demo gorgons to make the kaiju like being. Simple as that. If you don't want to show us any demogorgon like creature, any upside down creature, just say, hey, all of them were used to make that fucking body. And guess what? People would have been like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Oh, that's a pretty cool like reuse idea of Stranger Things 3 with the Mind Flayer. It's just, oh my god, bro. It's like, you know, like, fool, I didn't go, like I'm saying, I'm not a fucking certified writer. I didn't go to college. I didn't even go to college in general, you know, let alone for fucking studying how to write scripts. And it's a simple tweak in my idea that people would have accepted and enjoyed and been okay with, to just say, hey, all the demo creatures, they were sacrificed just like the people in Stranger Things 3 to make a physical form for the Mind Flayer for the final fight. and only like a handful were used in order to do their biddings. Like those demo dogs and demogorgons that we used, they were the only ones that were exempted from being sacrificed, so we could use them. And that's it. That's fucking it. But with that being said, we're going to the last point of the controversy. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. I did see it and I did pause and I see what people are saying, but it is apparently somebody, I don't know who the fuck was the first person to even think about this or catch this. But like I said, the script wasn't done. There was many times where they were filming episodes and the episodes weren't even done. But they were in a time crunch because they were already filming, I believe, um I believe it was like the end of like wrapping up episode 7, or they were finishing episode yeah, it was like either the end of episode 6 or the beginning of episode 7, that they were like, oh shit, we need a, you know, we're not done with the script, we don't know how the show's gonna end, aka we don't have anything for episode 8. So there's a segment in the documentary where the Duffer brothers and all the writers are just coming into work, and all they're doing all day is just locked in. They're locked in the writer's room, and they have headphones on. They're all in their own little space, locked in, and they're writing scripts. And it zooms and it shows like different angles, and one of the angles shows the screen of one of the Duffer brothers' laptops, and one of the many tabs that were open right next, and it's funny because it was literally right next to the writing tab where I don't know if he was like on Google Slide or something, but he was on a tab where he was writing the script and everything. And right next to that tab were two other tabs, one of them being Reddit, which they people believe that they were looking for cool things to add to Stranger Things, because the fandom, if anything this fandom has shown, is that they are fucking creative, and they are pretty good geniuses when it comes to writing. And people believe that they were probably trying to steal some of that creativity and genius from the fans that they had posted on Reddit and stuff, to kind of help them end the Stranger Things season. And then right next to Reddit is another one that's a little bit more blurry, but undeniably it does resemble the logo for ChatGPT. So this, a lot of people are accusing the Duffer Brothers to have used Reddit and ChatGPT to finish Stranger Things 5, which is pretty sad if it's true. It's pretty sad because these are the same people that gave us everything season 1 through 4. And in my opinion, Stranger Things is one of those shows that got blessed to not have a bad season. You can say that this season is the worst out of all of them, but you can't say it's a bad season in general. Like, in my opinion, none of the seasons, not even 5, is a bad season. You can say for me 5 is the worst one if we're ranking all 5 of them. That's a thing, obviously. But to be like, oh yeah, Stranger Things has a bad season where it's like there's nothing good about it. There's no nothing. It doesn't hang up to the show. No, it's bad. In my opinion, Stranger Things doesn't have a season like that. It doesn't have a bad season at all. All seasons are good, cool, similar but unique, and just a phenomenon. But it is pretty sad that the same people that brought us those 4 first seasons, and even like Stranger Things, the first Shadow, it just said that those people that were behind like the minds behind the creation of those things, need something like ChatGPT and Reddit. I'm not really that mad about Reddit because, like I said, the fucking fans of this show have shown time and time again their creativity and genius level when it comes to writing, and it has to do with the passion that people love this show with. So I'm not really mad if they took some inspiration of being like, that's a cool fucking twist or a cool story that this person came up with. Let me do it my own way. But what is sad, in my opinion, is ChatGPT. Unless it was, if it was just used to be like, hey, fix these grammar errors, if there's any. But if it's really was used to be like, hey, ChatGPT, what would be a cool thing for this scene or stuff like that? Yeah, it's pretty sad that AI was used for that. Especially, like I said, coming from the same minds that brought us everything season 1 through 4 related. It's just sad that in order to end the show and give us one last season, AI was required. But with that being said, ladies and gents, I've yapped long enough. Thank you for tuning in the video. Once again, I'm sorry for the little hiatus, but I have been posting shorts. Make sure you check them out. And stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to be back in the rhythm of uploading every like 3-4 days at most. And thank you for watching this video. Thank you for taking time out of your day. If you're new or you haven't and if you've been watching and you just haven't, or if you're new, please hit subscribe. It helps out a lot. Trying to grow the channel, trying to give more time to you guys to make you guys better videos and whatnot. And yeah, make sure to check out my other videos if you like this one, and make sure to stay tuned for the future. Thank you guys. Have a good one. God bless.